did you cross what once felt too wide? What river did you wade with your fear at your side? Whose hands built the road that you're walking on now? What promise did they carry and what did they allow? What house are you outgrowing?
Let's get started. Today I'm going to cover a little bit of my basic philosophy about how I have created a system for myself with ephemera. It's a little bit different than what you've seen before, and I hope you'll just take a minute or two to see if it might possibly make some sense to you. I most often in my kits create these different pages. This one is a 5 by 5, okay? This bunny one is the same thing. It's a 5 by 5. This one's a 4 by 4. If you bought some of my kits, you're probably familiar with them, but maybe you're still kind of unsure as to what to do with them. This is a 2 by 2. Here, this is another 5 by 5. This one here is a 3 by 2, and I often use this size quite often. Here's another 5 by 5, a 2 by 4. I hope you're kind of starting to get the idea. So when I say 4 by 4, it's 4 across and 4 down. That's how I'm describing these. This is another 4 by 4, 2 by 4. This one here was a 3 by 3. So you kind of get the idea of the name of what I'm referring. But what I've done is that I've developed a bunch of tutorials and a way of making ephemera where I have repeated things that I do over and over again depending on the kit. So I want to show you that, let's see here. This is from the Tender Moments beach theme here. This one is a freebie on my site right now in the Just Because section. So is this one if you're working with the Springtime Dreamers kit. And I think there's another Tender Moments this one is still a freebie too. This one if you want some cute girls. You could do this with photographs. And you don't have to use my digitals in order to do it. But if you learn how to print the half sheets with your Adobe PDF, you can create these really very easily. Or you can just fold the paper. Use your own paper. It's up to you. This 4 by 4 is a freebie on my site right now. And I believe some of these, all of these other ones, they might actually all of the ones that I've got shown here because I'm going to use them. This is a Tender Moments. So I want to show you the things that I create with them, and that's what the intention of this video is. I may not go in depth with every tutorial, but I'm going to give you some ideas, and they may be things you know how to make already. If you have questions for me, if there's things that you'd like to see on a deeper level, I will show quite a few things how to, but maybe not every step, so that we can kind of travel through things as quickly as possible. One of the things, I'm still working with the Blessed Bounty kit. Here's my journal at the moment. You can see she's pretty big. And I've got just a few more elements that I want to create with my scraps that are left over. And so that's what I'm going to be using today, though I said, you know, you could use any of those items. And if you bought a kit from me and it doesn't have one of the sizes that you like, not every size is possible with every kit, but many sizes are available. It'll depend on the orientation of the kit. You can always reach out to me on Etsy or Coffee and request something if you're working in a particular kit. I also want to give you a little bit of a sneak peek here. This is May's Journey. So I've been working on that too. I'm not going to say a lot about it, but I'm really loving this kit, and I'm trying to get enough pieces together and done before I release it on April 20th, but I'm just giving you a little bit of a sneak peek. That will be coming soon. And then some of you are still working on this one, which this here, this journal needs some love from me. Definitely, I have not quite finished it, and I keep picking the pieces and the accessories off of it. But I encourage you, if you're working with this kit, which is the Bohemian Dreams, look at the tutorials from last year. I made a Bohemian Dreams playlist, and it will help you with questions and stuff you have there. And I want to say, just because we're playing with that, some of the other kits, and I haven't shown this one as much, I wanted you to know that this one is still extremely dear to my heart, and I'm happy to answer questions and to show anything you'd like. I want you to know that there are enough of these size freebies in this kit and also on my site that you'll be able to work along if you're working in this kit also. My kits are meant to be interchangeable, and there's actually a journal system that is in place that hopefully will become more evident soon. Okay, let's get started. I'm making some images like this. And remember that you can use images from the kit you're working on or images of your own. And that explore the Just Because section of my shop. I'm working with the Blessed Bounty because that's the kit that I have left. So just looking at my prototype here, this is smaller than this one, and I want you to see that they can be made with either size. So this one I used a 4x4 and a 5x5 on the size of the images here to do this one. So you can make them smaller, but so you'll basically need images that are similar in size. An image to go on the inside and an image to go that creates your frame. There's a lot of these plain ones that are just on my Just Because site if you want to download those. So I'm just going to cut this out and cut these into little card things. Right, so it's like a so the idea is that once you learn how to do something in this series, you'll be able to apply it to any journal that you have, and so it makes the tutorial fairly universal. Let's see here. And yes, I'm saving all my scraps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this shape so that it's just slightly smaller, that it's going to fit inside with the correct amount of border that I have, like on this one here. Okay, so this one here, cut it quite like that. And then all you do is actually use the punch. And you could use torn edges if you like. So I'm just gonna off camera here. I'm gonna punch. Well, we'll see. I'll just talk to you as I do it. We'll see. So you can see that edge that it creates. So I'm just gonna finish that off camera here. And I'm just going to ink that. I'm using some vintage photo. And I am So this one, you might not need both sides. That would be an option or an option of a choice. I think the one that is in the sample is just one width, but we'll make this one with 2 and we'll make it a little pocket. And these can kind of like nest together if you want. So I think we'll make top here like this. So I'm also using art glitter glue. I like art glitter glue because it doesn't wrinkle my projects, and like if you do something and you see it a year later that has been made with regular glue, I just don't love what it looks like, and the archival quality just isn't there. It's really worth it for me to spend, oops. Sorry, talking to you, I forgot we were gonna leave this open. So I'll leave one side open. The archival quality is really important to me because I like to keep my projects and I pour so much time into them that looking at them a year later, I get so much more joy when I see that I've spent time and money on some. You don't have to spend a ton of money on quality things. Glue is one of the things that I don't scrimp on, glue and paper. So just like I'm gonna have to make sure that I stay aware because I applied too much glue there. So I'm just gonna also glue this one down. I'm going to place it more towards the bottom of the image because I'm going to add a little bit of a tab on the top. What you can do is create a notch in the back. I probably should have done this prior to gluing. Yeah. To use a notch punch. I'm just doing that so that I'm aware that I can tuck something in the back here. Just ink that up. I want to create a tab here, and for this you can use your tab punch if you want. I like to create one that'll be the same width as this, so I'm going to use a scrap that I have, and then I'm just going to kind of measure the length that I want. This way I can also adjust, so this is going to be longer. Might have been too long. Just going to make a couple more that's a similar size so that I can do them at the same time and use up the scrap and have it for later. So I think it's too long. So do a little bit better job than me at measuring. Okay. Really pretty easy, and all you do is then ink it up. and decorate it. I think I'll show you the decorated parts at the end, but you can see that I'm not sure if this is the right size, but now we also have a place to tuck something in also. Next. Okay, so these are a little bit different. These are using a square punch, and the same thing, the idea of the cabinet card, and we're going to cut some square out here so that it creates the shape of a Polaroid. We will also need to, I'll just make one of these, choose something to go in the inside. This one is not a good candidate because it wouldn't make sense to just have her covered here. Neither is this one, but this one is, and so is this one. So I'll probably do that one. So for this, I'm going to use a template because I don't have a punch that size. So this will kind of give you an idea of how to do that. But I start with, I have a bunch of these where I've just kind of cut the images and then I have a little box I keep my templates in. But what I'm going to do is from the back side where I won't see the image, kind of center where I'd like on one side. And then I have a space for me to cut out, and then I just cut it out with, you can do a couple of things to cut it out. So you can do it like this. I've also used a punch that's more of a rectangular punch, but I'm getting better with my precision as I slow down. So if you do square corners, make sure you do the same corner for each one. Like this one I didn't. I did a rectangular one, so I'm just gonna fix that. You can see I was just ever a little bit so off, so I may just trim this at the end. It's a junk journal, so I don't feel like it has to be perfect, but you work with it how, you know, it feels best to you. So, and I'm just going to ink this up. So you can notice the ink really does do a lot. It can camouflage the edges, make things pop. I'm going to ink on the outside and the inside. And so what doesn't matter, these edges don't matter, but it will matter at the top where I want it to be framed. So I'm going to just make sure. I'm going to trim a little bit of the top off here. Even just a little bit more. Probably like that. And so I'm just going to glue this in this way exactly where I want it, and I'll trim the edges. That's about all there is to this one. We decorate it after that. So I'm just gonna show you how I add the sentiments. I have some of the sentiments that go with the kit, and I like to put it on something else that kind of makes it pop. So I wasn't sure which one I was gonna like better, and I will eventually end up using this here. So it might either be, I think it might be that one, but this is some of the scrap paper. So this is part of how I use my scrap paper too. This one here, the bottom one was scrap. So we'll just kind of trim that up too and see what that one looks like. we'll save this one. I'm going to use this one, so we'll put this down. I wanted you to notice that I hadn't closed up the card. So how you close up the card is up to you. You could just seal it. You could just use one side if you want to conserve paper. I like how it looks with the double-sided on these because it feels a little bit more like a Polaroid frame. And I'm just going to actually seal mine up. I also added on these a little bit of tape that to make it look a little more aged. Some of the kits have, the photo kit definitely has this kind of printed tape, printed stuff you just printed on sticker paper, but I feel like that kind of like it adds to the charm of it. It's optional. That one's going to be hard to do, so just going to seal it up and we'll move on. So this one the very same way here. This one I'm going to, let's see, depending on the image I use, let's leave the little boy. I still think I'm going to use this one, so let's punch this one. I used a punch. You can use a template also. Let me show you that because punch almost always, and you can use a punch to punch it out, but if I don't mark where I want it with a punch, I almost always get it in a place where I'm not happy with the placement of it, so it's easier to use. So if you're going to use a punch, use your punch to punch out a little thing you can trace so that you get it exactly where you want. So now I can line up my punch. And then I'm going to save that. And really this one is as easy as the other one. We just ink it. So choose an image that goes in here. Not all of them that you may have will look as nice. So you can see this one feels crowded. I'm going to use this one. And you just glue it together. So in the very same way, I'm going to do that. I'm going to add some of the trim that comes with the kit. You add your own lace, decorate it however you like. I'm just going to glue it to the front here. I think the possibilities are endless on how you can decorate these and make them your own. I don't always love to add things to the bottom, but a couple of them I do. When I add it to the bottom, it can make it difficult to stuff it into a pocket if that's what you're wanting to do. Generally, these would go, not always, but it can be a little bit more challenging to get it to load into a pocket. So just decided to use the tab that we made before. Remember, we made 2 tabs for that other one. I'll use a tab on this one too. It's probably a little bit big, but I think I like it enough that I may add a grommet at the end. So This one I'm going to use the opposite, the part that punched out, and I'm going to use the same punch to punch out the front of one of these, kind of at the tail end of my images. So got one more left. This one we want to ink very well. It's kind of a tip or a trick on putting it onto lace. If you have something the same size, let's see here. That's what this one looks like here. So that's kind of our prototype. And so I've got this piece of lace here. Probably can reuse this. Just want to kind of trim the edges of this lace so it doesn't feel like a square. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this, and quite a bit of glue on the back of your card. Place your lace on the top. Add quite a bit of glue. And it can get, you know, again, decorated further. This one I used a black pen, and I drew some dots around it. You could add a frame if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. This is the last day I'm giving myself here to work on this journal because I have got to switch gears. So if you haven't seen the tutorial for this is also on my channel. I'll link that. These are using the same images with a similar concept. There we go. Okay, so you can make something like this, and I probably won't do the tutorial here on my channel here, but I've been really working with mastering doing the waterfall. So you can do that by using a waterfall tutorial. It's the same thing here, I've done here. That gives you an idea. I'm not going to do that here now because I think there's plenty of waterfall tutorials. If you'd like a specific tutorial on that, please let me know. Here's basically a blank. Another thing you can do, I did this one, which is just a simple flip. It's got a hard back to tuck into a pocket, like that. That's another idea. And I've got, if you haven't seen the video for the pocket flips, it matches the same idea, and I can put a link to that in the description box below. So I've made a bookmark, and this is really kind of the, you know, collage concept here. I just mounted it to, I took a strip of the images, that's this here, mounted it to cardboard. So I'll do that really quick and then meet you up here. So I do a full-on collage strip video, which I'll put in a link in the description box below. But these are the perfect images to do that with. And so I won't go through all of the whole explanation. It seems pretty much like you could watch that video if you're interested in it. I'm mostly wanting to give you ideas, but I added these corners and I basically mounted it to cardstock. Okay. So I didn't do this one as much as a vertical collage, just left it as a bookmark. This could also be a belly band, so I do want to suggest that to you. Something like this, a strip like this, makes a really cute belly band, and I just added this. And to mention, if you like the little charms, one of the freebies and the Just Because, you'll see it, the Blessed Bounty one has 2 sheets that have the different charms on it. So that's available to you there. Okay, next thing, you can make file folders, and I think we've all made plenty of file folders. This is just an example here. Put a lot of your cute little tidbits in there. It's got a tab that I made for this size, and then a ton of the little tidbits in there. So we have a 2x4 sheet left. I'm going to actually make the file folders out of the 2x4 sheet. I cutted them into 4 squares like this and just folded, and we'll just score really well on each of these. And I think because this is part of the Shabby Vintage bundle, it's a kit that is all of these neutrals, and the Blessed Bounty has all of these neutrals too, so that they can kind of apply to other journals that you make, so that you can make blanks if you like, and if you're into the mass make thing. So we've got 4 of these here now. Let me just show you how I go about creating the little tab here. What I've done is I've cut off just about, it's about a little bit less than a centimeter off the front, if you consider that the front, so that each one has like this. And depending on if you're making a set or not, you'll want to decide where you would like to have your little tabs. Okay. And depending, so I think that we'll just do one here first. I'm just gonna make the tab down at the bottom. Just decide the size that you'd like your tab. And it's just really as simple as that, just shaping it the way you like. Just fold your pocket in half. And around the edges, no, actually I'm not. Nope. I'll just, and ink those up. Just glue those on. And ink. Stuff those full. That. And then it's nice to have a little sentiment there. So I think this one would be really cute with a little belly band on the back, so I'm going to do that. Now we just need to worry about the front, and then come to the part of things where I've been looking forward to showing you how to use these little circles. So I'm going to cut out one of the little circles. And there's lots of different ways I've used these, so I'll kind of finish this using this, and then I'll show you the other ways that I've used it. So I'm just going to probably so they make great little frames. So I think what I'll do is add this one. And of course these could be decorated with stamping, things like that if you wanted. I think I will probably also add this. This, the tab needs something. I'm not sure what. Let's see. Probably like that. Okay, so that was pretty quick and fast, right? So you can make them either size. One way to use them is to use them and create a little topper at the top of your tags. Those look fun, and you'll probably notice there were some buttons included in that kit. So just wanted to show you that's another way that I use the buttons. So using it as a tag topper is one idea for those. And oops. So I've used them just to make them a charm on some lace. The same method that we used for putting the lace. I put one on the front and then one on the back to secure it in the back here. I think you've probably seen those. Here's another one. I used it as a tab on the side of my journal. Oops. There's another one. So those are a couple of ways. Oops, here's another one. And then just get the shape I'd like. So I'm just gonna, let's see. How easy they make into a tag. So, and the smaller shape does the same thing, so you can do the same thing with the smaller shapes. Okay. And I'm going to ink these. I've cut my labels in half, and I'm going to ink them. So just a reminder, these are free on my site. So go in the Just Because section, and you can download if you just want to create some basic tags for your journal. This is a great idea, and it's a great base for any journal kit. So I'm going to This is one way to it's a cute way to add some extra writing space, to not really embellish these at all, and just have them in there. I could put a little grommet and some ribbon, or one of my favorite things to do is to actually just staple the ribbon on, so you can, a little messy. That's my taste. And then one thing you can do is use your mini attacher. Put a little X in it. See that one? And the other way is to create a tab itself on the top. So I think I actually want it to come down more. Okay, so I just added a grommet and then a little bit of ribbon and a charm. So you've got those two ideas with the tabs. Okay, on this one, let's just use a little bit of this burlap. Short here. Yeah. So I've used a punch to cut out one of my remaining little guys. Okay, so on this one, tiny attacher again. I'm going to put this down before I put the other. See how I just use a little, and then we'll get some Fabri-Tac. And you can see any of the other items that we created, the cabinet cards and stuff, could also, that same frame could then be also made into a tag depending on what you do with the top and the bottom. So then we'll put this down. I'm not really sure what to decorate her with. I may just do a charm. Okay, so while we're on the subject of tags, I have these two little pieces here left over, and I've got two of each size here. I'm going to use my punch. Get a couple of different tops so that you can see kind of the difference. Let's see. So I've got 4 of those. So I could use them as tags if I wanted to do more tags, but I decided I'm not going to. I'm going to show you how to make an envelope out of tag shapes instead, because I do that very often. So there's one. So you just basically fold it where you want and fold it over. We'll ink those so you'll be able to see. Perfect for making mini envelopes. Okay. And just to prove to you that it works with almost all tag shapes, there's this one. That's one. Let's see, here's a different tag shape. That one. And this one. I think there's probably enough little envelopes anyway, because show you how they go together. I'm going to ink all of those and be right back. Okay, so the first thing you can do is to create a little bit of a lip here so that it looks a little bit more like an envelope. So you just go from the middle out like this. And then you can glue it together. You can add some kind of a sticker or something to the bottom if you want. And creating a Velcro closure is really easy with this. So many different ways to decorate envelopes. So just do that. Okay. The front can get decorated however you like. Add lace, kind of embellishment. Okay, idea number 2. So on this one, we can just create, okay, on this one, I'm going to leave it open as a rating space. I added a Velcro closure, and then I'm just going to add glue around the bottom here. I use one of the like lace things that come with the kit. Just trim this up, but it needs, these need ink to kind of look more realistic. And then just gonna tuck a few things in there, see what that looks like. Need to. Right, so I just stuffed those in there. And it's a writing spot. This one, right, it's just stuffed with little bits. So I'm now at the tail end of the bits for this kit. So I really want to reiterate to you that I use just about everything from the kit. I rarely have very many scraps left because I only print up what I want, and I'm pretty selective about what I print. I don't print the whole entire kit, so I do want to mention that. Okay, so these ones can get just decorated in a very similar way, either with a lip like this. It's an envelope. It's super fun to decorate envelopes. So I'm not going to do all of that on camera, but I am going to show you how they can very quickly, easily go together. Lots of people like to create like little belly band with the small envelopes. Oops. And this one that has a punch at the top. Super fun. Something like, I don't know, I have a little, I think that's too big for that, but little button or something like that would be really fun to put on that. Let's see. Let me just show you one other trick. You can punch a circle and just put it on the bottom to use as a closure. These are fun, decorated all over your journal with the little bits, the last of the little bits that you have, oops, for your journal, the smaller ones. Just show you what I've done here. It's a fun way to use up tags if you just want to just stick these in these small places in your journal. Use up the last bits of your tidbits. Okay, these are one of the freebies from the Blessed Bounty kit that's in the Just Because section. These are little clipboards. So let's use those real quick. Okay, I showed you that we kind of cut these out, and I've got, they're nice when they're mounted on cardboard. So I'm going to use the two that are mounted on cardboard. And really, I just I can make this super easy. I'm at the tail end of my tidbits for this kit, and it's really time for me to switch gears. So I'm just going to do this, which is using these clips. It's also part of the freebie that is the Blessed Bounty freebie on my site, and I'm going to cut out the hole here. Just going to make it really simple. I'm going to ink those up, and I'll probably put some paper, some tag paper in there, and I'm just going to make it look like this image is clipped to the clipboard. Although there are so many things you can do with this, with the clip, the bow clip. I think you can probably see that. So we're just going to glue it on so it looks like it's clipped to the clipboard. Same thing here. Okay, I'm going to use a circle punch. Here, I couldn't decide if I should do a 2-inch punch or a 1 3/4 inch punch. And I think depending on the images that I have, I might decide this way. So I just want to be able to make I think we'll use this one. I don't know which one to use. I'm just going to use this corner one and not be picky about it. This is probably the only thing that may not be something that you might have for free that you could have gotten off of my site. So I think I'm going to use that one. And all I'm going to do is make sure that I know about where I want to have the punch. So probably right about there. But I'm going to cut the bottom off so that I have a little bit of a tab also. So let's do that. More a little bit better of a size of the way a specimen card would be. So let's just so that I get my punch in the right place, right? Might still have even, not quite. Because I'm going all the way through this here, I'm going to put both sides in and then just punch. I may have to trim. I think I may be trimming a little bit. Yep, just trimming it a little bit. So if you get it a little bit off center, before you ink and stuff, just trim it up. Okay. I'm going to ink the edges. I'm also going to punch the bottom. Then I'm just going to glue in my little specimen where I want. Probably you want to be pretty sparse on this. And not get it too close to the edges. And now I'm going to trim it. Oops. Still need some adjusting. Let's just glue it together. Same thing, a couple of the tag toppers for that. So let me show you how I make those. I'm going to use my smaller punch. I'm going to make 2 of them because I'd like them to match. Just going to make a small one there. So I use the smaller punch, and we'll try this size. This is probably better. Let's see. Yep, that's it. So really depend on your tag too. You can be creative, but I'm going to put those on either side of my tag, ink them up. I'm just going to use a little bit of my sandpaper disc thing. This is from a drawing set that I had, and I really like it. It helps to kind of age things. If you remove a little bit and make it a little bit scratchy when you apply the ink gets a little bit darker in those places that you've sanded down. I wanted to show you, I put these two tags together with some of my tidbits. Same concept here. I'm just going to create, I made this one into a tag with the topper there. And we'll do the same thing with, let's see, with this one here. Cute to add a pocket to the front, tuck in one of your favorite things, and then create a little bit of a vignette. I did the same thing with her, and now they just need some top thing. Okay, so for these, you don't put the back one on, you put the front one on with the hole, and then you match where the hole is, so you know where to put the back in. Like that. Add a charm here is to come through the back. I'll use a I forget what the circles things are called. Yep. I'll use one of those, and then, oops, I want a smaller one. So it's a jump ring that came to me. So go ahead and put your charm on, and then you can just kind of hook it through your hole. And if you need your pliers to put those back in, do that. And then the charm is threaded on, you can then place your ends through and pull it tight. Kind of keeps your charm in place. I'm not sure I love that string, but I picked this string for the other one. So let's do that one. Come through the back. Slide your want your string even, then you don't have to trim it, and then come back through your loop. But there's those two. I wanted to show you, I put these two tags together with some of my tidbits. Same concept here. I'm just going to create, I made this one into a tag with the topper there. And we'll do the same thing with, let's see, with this one here. Cute to add a pocket to the front, tuck in one of your favorite things, and then create a little bit of a vignette. I did the same thing with her, and now they just need some top thing. Okay, so for these, you don't put the back one on, you put the front one on with the hole, and then you match where the hole is, so you know where to put the back in. Like that. Add a charm here is to come through the back. I'll use a I forget what the circles things are called. I'll use one of those, and then, oops, I want a smaller one. So it's a jump ring that came to me. So go ahead and put your charm on, and then you can just kind of hook it through your hole. And if you need your pliers to put those back in, do that. And then this is, the charm is threaded on, you can then place your ends through and pull it tight. Kind of keeps your charm in place. I'm not sure I love that string, but I picked this string for the other one. So let's do that one. Come through the back. Slide your want your string even, then you don't have to trim it, and then come back through your loop. But there's those two.
The house is quiet after the storm. Our voice is softer than the rain. 2 cups cooling on the table. Your warmth resting close to mine. We counted all the things that faded, the plans that scattered in the wind. Yet in the hush between our breathing,